Good morning to everybody. Welcome back to Nicardo Media House Channel. The morning Sada Extra. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. I'm out. Doing another video. Putting in some extras. Development story also yesterday in the local space. A prominent one. Gave his speech. Gave updates on Dujuan Whisper Richards. So all the people who haven't heard it as yet. You will hear it here. It's not my story. It's their story. So I will bring it to the public. On my platform. And also the final day. Yes, the final day after Jamaican Premier League will be tomorrow. And guess what? A club that's in the Jamaican Premier League file some accusation what is going on that Mount Pleasant breach some competition rules, some ineligible players featured in the tournament. So it's always drama, it's always that breaking news, it's always that next story. Look, Craig Butler got relegated a few match days ago, and I would say the news, the drama, the excitement continues, so you will say Craig Butler leaving, a little bit of his shadow, in the Jamaican Premier League, tier 2 football for Mr. Butler. But we're not here to talk about Mr. Butler, but yeah, a little story developed yesterday about one of his player, young, prominent one, Dujuan Whisper Richards. And also, right after this, I will get into it because, look, this is just a beautiful Saturday morning. Hopefully, where you guys at this moment, it's a beautiful Saturday. Whenever you're watching this back, hopefully it's a beautiful day. Hopefully you guys having a wonderful day. As you know, in Jamaica, it's market day. This is where everyone goes to their best local spot, to get their ground provision, just to do some errands, just to get some, some groceries stock up in the house. But I'm here doing video, and after this, it will be a big day in football because you have some reggae boy players that will be featured in some 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, some big games in the EFL Championship, some big game in EFL League One as well. And also Leon Bailey, will hopefully Leon Bailey will feature in that game against Fulham. So right after this, I will jump into it. Where should I start, man? Because this Mount Pleasant thing is getting out of hand. My understanding now that, look, documents have submitted to Concacaf because Concacaf is involved at this moment. And you would say, as a lover of Jamaican local league, you would say you don't really did want it reach this far. But if it needs to go to Concacaf, to get the issue solved, that's where matters need to go, and that's where it needs to go. And that is the highest governing body of this region. They're responsible for football in this region. What we heard, the player featured in their competition, featured in a local competition in Jamaica. So with the players, they said playing for both teams, rules of FIFA rules, transfer and all. I mean, it's always a story like something like this in Mount Pleasant with the administration staff, and with the amount of money that's spent in that club down there at in Senton. Tomorrow will be a very crucial game. Reportedly as well, a story that I saw, an article that I saw from a prominent newspaper company in Jamaica, the Gleaner. Someone in the JFF said, hey, if they found guilty of all the charges and of all the accusations that I've filed against them, they can find themselves as far as third place. So it's not a good look for Mount Pleasant. It's not a good look for the Jamaican Premier League. And look, Ed Afro get role. Yeah, man, Ed Afro get role in the administration, and allegedly, you heard stories that look shaking up Dujuan right now in Mount Pleasant. So I think some administration staff, people that responsible for the football, are inside of the Mount Pleasant Football Club, needs to answer some question. But this is like something similar what happened, I think, between Wednesday and Thursday. The Bodeglimp team that faced Tottenham Hotspur. They thought that they have a few players that will be eligible to play Tottenham Hotspur, but suddenly they found out that they mistakenly read the competition rule about the yellow card issue. So these stuff can happen with administration, but again, it didn't go to that extent as this Mount Pleasant team and administration staff allow this to go. You understand? But before I go into the final day decision, and before I go into my takes and what I think about the Jamaican Premier League final day fixtures that will come up tomorrow. So yesterday, on the Sports Explosion, it's 92. Oral Tracy gave his takes and whisper. Yeah, he gave his takes and whisper, and this is what the prominent figure in sports in Jamaica, a radio host, a journalist, a sports analyst, a sports commentator. I'm just saying, I don't know if all these titles on his name, but all credits go to the It's 92 and also Oral Tracy, and this is what the Maverick said yesterday on his platform about whisper.
All right. What else I wanted to mention? Oh yes, a quick update on Whisper Richards' situation. My impeccable information is that Whisper is now fully recovered from his injury, his surgery, and is now back in full training at Chelsea. But he's been playing under 21 all season, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Chelsea are in the final of the under 21 for this season. But the season is literally coming to a close. So we understand that the coaching staff at Chelsea they've taken a decision not to bother to play Whisper for the rest of the season, and for him to just go into pre-season afresh, not just to try and play under 21, but we understand that about carry him go play. What's the pre-season thing? The super thing with them have in a pre-season. So Whisper is still very much a part of Chelsea plans going forward, and is now fully recovered and back in training, albeit late for this season, but you can expect better things from Whisper next season.
So hopefully at some point we can see Whisper. Maybe if not, I want to know what you guys think. Should Whisper be a part of the Reggae Boy team going forward in the 3 little tournaments, or the 2.5 tournaments are campaign that will begin? The Unity Cup is right there, the World Cup qualifier is right there, the Gold Cup is right there, and let me know if Whisper should be in that Gold Cup squad. Remember, controversially, it happened last Gold Cup where a lot of people came out and said, Whisper is not aligned to any professional setup. He's not playing in the first team games. He's not getting games at the senior level, and coming out from Phoenix, right out of the academy, he got picked into the Gold Cup team. And let me know if it will be another controversial one about Whisper get featured inside of the the Reggae Boy team going forward, especially in that Gold Cup. But they said Whisper is fit. That's his story, and that's the Maverick story. Said, hey, everything is done, rehabilitation, rehab, everything. The player is fully fit, and there's no concern about his health at this moment. And moving forward, the JPL, the final day, and let me get into it. Look, Mount Pleasant, and what they will travel to Clarendon to play Humble at Effortville Community Centre. I remember when Alex Thomas, just came in, and Alex Thomas lost a few games, around 5 to 7 games. He was winless, and right after the spin, Alex Thomas went around 6 to 7 games. We talk about he beat Arnett Garden, he beat Waterhouse, he get the better of Tivoli Garden, and I give it, he beat Arborview, I think. He beat Arnett Garden, Arborview, Tivoli, Cavalier, and he drew with Montego Bay at home. And right after, he got those very good results, at their home field in Clarendon and Effortville Community Centre. They went on to play a very important game against, neighbouring team from St. Catherine, Portmore United, where they lost that game 1-0. They missed I think they missed a penalty in that game, and that was the end of their little home streak at home. And from there, Humberland is at this moment is in their last 4 games. They're winless in their last 4 games. Where they go from here. But again, what will be the focus around this game with everything that's going on with Mount Pleasant, Academy Football Club, whatever it is, will they be at full focus? Will they be at full strength in this game? Because if you look at it, they have already wrapped up the league. They have already wrapped up. the regular season. They have wrapped up the regular season. They got the points that they needed already. So many points. From a 39 games. So Umberland will be at full force, and look, they need a win. The result, as it stands, nothing is in there, and they have to depend, on other results, around the grounds, so they can. So results are not in their hands. It's not in their hands at this moment, so they have to depend on different results around the ground, like the Chapperton Maroon, the Mull Lions game, and etc. Who else is in there? I remember who else is in there, but the Chapperton Maroon, Mull Lions, and also Arborview game, so they can maybe get something from that as well. But so the next up, Tivoli will host Mobay, and the last time I can remember Tivoli host Mobay at the Edward Siaga Sports Complex, it was back in 2019. I think 2-1, Tivoli won that game. Colorado Murray was on show. He scored in that game as well. I think that was the time when Deshaun Beckford, a former reggae boy, not a farmer, but a young reggae boy player who is currently in the USL at this moment, was on show for Mobay. I think he scored in that game as well. So, but look, Tivoli, it's all in their hand. Win and they take 6 spot, and they will be in the playoff coming in what, a week or and a half from now. Waterhouse will play, Dumbo Olin. You will say Dumbo Olin, they're safe. Yeah, they are safe. Umberland, who is in 13th position, is on 33, and Dumbo Olin is on 37. So Dumbo Olin is safe and dry. Waterhouse is all about what will happen. Mobay will have to do them a big favor to get a point. If Mobay get a point in that game and Tivoli go on to beat Dumbo Olin, remember the last game Tivoli play Dumbo Olin, a couple match days ago or a couple months ago, Dumbo Olin get the better of them and beat them 1-0 in the first meetings. Waterhouse beat Dumbo Olin. So both teams have picked up 3 points from each other since the regular season, in the regular season already. So then when you look at it, Tivoli, the head-to-head, Tivoli is yet to beat Mobay this season. They lost 3-1, and they lost 4-2 in those games. So they're yet to beat MBU, at this moment, and the race for top 6, it's really on. And then Arnett Garden, another team that is fighting to get in the top 2. They will play Arborview, the Stars of the East. I can't even tell you when last, Arborview beat Arnett Garden. It's been a while. I think Arnett Garden is unbeaten around in their last 7 to 8 games versus Arborview at this moment. But Arborview, you will say goal difference. Look, goal difference is a little bit on Arborview side. I think the goal, when you look at it and differentiate it with the goal difference between the team that in the relegation drop at this moment, Umberland, and 36, it's a little bit different. And if you look at it, Arnett Garden, Arborview, in that goal difference, their goal difference is -16. Meanwhile Umberland, as I say, their goal difference is -27. So it's 11 goal difference between the two teams, on the negative side, negative level goal difference between the two teams. When you look at it, what will happen, if Arnett Garden, I don't know if Arnett Garden will demolish, I don't even know if Arnett Garden will demolish Arborview, but I know for sure Umberland will not demolish, Mount Pleasant. It will be a very crucial game, but I think out of all the teams that fighting for their life in the Jamaican Premier League, coming up tomorrow, I think Arborview will be that team that more on the safe side. You understand? Meanwhile, I talk about the Waterhouse game. Look, before the last game that Waterhouse played, Arnett Garden, they were very, very on a very good run a farm, where they won 6 games and draw 1. They drew 1 game, so they were unbeaten in 7. I remember even it goes back to last season. Their last 10 games, they won around 6 to 7 games out of their last 10. And when you look at the runnings of them going to the playoff last season, their last 6 games, they were unbeaten. Javian Bryan was on farm. So Waterhouse been knowing to get these important points, to get into the playoff, in the final, the last half of the season. So, it's going to be very crucial. Yeah, it's going to be very crucial to see what will happen between TG and Waterhouse. But again, the teams, Chapelton Maroon will face Veer. You will say, look, they will more likely beat Veer. They should beat Veer, if they look. Everything is in their hands, with the Chapelton Maroon, the Molines, the Arbor View. It's all about Umberland. They have to depend on other results around, the competition, so they can know that, hey, they have. But the one thing though, them have to do them job. Yeah, them have to do them job. And Portmore versus Racing, and I must say the potential of the 5th place. I think Portmore and Cavalier, the potential of 5th and 4th. I think there is a competition there as well. I think one of those teams can jump ahead, because I think the goal difference is very close. And it's not over and dry. There's a lot of competition, there's a lot of battle need to fight. There's a lot of place need to still yet to confirm in the JPL season. So final day will be big decision. The top 2, the top 6, and also the competition between Cavalier and Portmore. What will happen between those two teams? Portmore will face Racing. Racing beat them the last time at 30 Meter Park. So Racing was one of those teams that, even what you hear now, look, hey, Racing can be there, with all the points that, will be deducted from, that potentially, might deduct from Mount Pleasant, so it's just a wonderful day, it's just a wonderful story to know that, hey, other teams are still in a show to get something if Mount Pleasant go on to get points deduction. So I mean, you never know. But as I said, man, paperwork documents have submitted to FIFA, not FIFA, but Concacaf is involved, the governing body for for any organization over here. Don't know Concacaf, at them run things, at them are the boss for this region. You name the Concacaf zone. That is it right here, but. That is it, people. Thanks for watching. This is Nicardo Media House, with a morning side extra. Bless up on yourself. Yeah, I'm out. Ciao, people. Arufa. Adios, amigos. Adios, amiga. Yeah, adios, hermano. Adios, hermano. Adios, hermano. Adios, hermana. Yeah, bless up on yourself. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Ciao.